Oh, shit, I didn't see there! My bad. I'm a little kooky up here, you know. I'm not crazy, I'm a maniac! I bet I struck some fear in some of your hearts when I brought out this book, because it's probably one of the most hated Goosebumps books of all time. That is Dr. Maniac. Hello, I'm Goosebumps for Dummies. And today we're talking about Dr. Maniac versus Robby Schwartz. Like I said, one of the most hated Goosebumps books of all time. Today I'm going to be reviewing it, of course. So let's see if it is truly, in my opinion, one of the most hated, or well-deserved to be hated. And now for the blurb! As always, digital danger. Write and fight. This is just throwing out there. Robby creates comic strips on his computer. His favorite creation is Dr. Maniac, a weird and wicked supervillain. Dr. Maniac isn't a real doctor, but he sure is a maniac. And now he's on the loose, in the real world. Oh, that's crazy. Howl if you love Horrorland. Meanwhile, 7 ordinary kids are now trapped in the popular theme park called Horrorland. Can Robby survive long enough to find and save them? A hairy situation awaits in Werewolf Village. ... Huh. Very mysterious. Dr. Maniac vs. Robby Schwartz, I don't even know why I put the book down, is underrated. In fact, I really like this book. For how much shit it gets, I was surprised, pleasantly, to think still, that this is one of my favorites. And this is actually a childhood favorite of mine. And while I'm not just dick-sucking on it, maybe a little, I don't fucking know, I highly enjoyed this one. But I can absolutely see why it is hated. It's really some wet. I still find a lot of enjoyment in it. So let's get to why. Dr. Maniac is very fun, and that's one of my main love points for it. In fact, this is a guilty pleasure read. And though I don't think it's going to be a 10 out of 10, I already know it ain't, it is one of my favorite Goosebumps books in terms of guilty pleasure. It's not, amazing, outstanding, 10 out of 10, but I love it still. Anyways, mainly because of fun, it has a decently high score for that. It's just a fun time all throughout. Even in the first 30 pages, which is where the book gets its most shit, I still think it's kind of fun. Now moving on, I think Dr. Maniac himself is the highlight of this book. He is so fun. He is one of the stupidest but funnest Goosebumps villains to read. And I had almost just as much fun, if not more fun, with his sequels and his other appearances, because I'm sure Stine liked him enough. He does appear a bit more in the Horrorland story. And I'm very glad for that, because I love Dr. Maniac. He is a fun character. He's so dumb, but he is so funny. Love him. And I love his catchphrase, too, if you couldn't tell. I'm not crazy, I'm a maniac. It's just... I don't know why, I love it. Moving on, I think the other characters, like Robby Schwartz, which is one of the better characters when it comes to the Horrorland story arc. I'm talking about the arc. The second story, he's definitely one of the better characters in there. And I think he is just as good in the main story as well. He's a fun character to read about. He's like this nerdy comic book kid. But obviously, he's also a bit brave, because he definitely he does a great job at taking down Dr. Maniac, I'll say. There's also some other scenes, involving Purple Rage, which is another comic book character he created. It does appear in other books as well. The obvious one, Dr. Maniac 2. Purple Rage is really cool, and he does have a decently creepy scene involving a tank. No, not the war tank, but a tank for fish and stuff. You can put things in it. We're not going crazy. We're not going full war crimes in this book, alright? Yeah, but still, really cool scene with that. And he's just a cool character to read about. And he actually has a lot of fans. I mean, people don't like Dr. Maniac very much, but people really like the Purple Rage. Funny part is, they're really similar. Which is, the weirdest thing. How do you hate Dr. Maniac when he's just, an altered version of Purple Rage? I don't know. Kind of stupid. Whatever. Just thought I'd throw it out there. Don't get mad at me. Maybe I'm just missing something. The characters in this book really drive it through. It's a really fun book. I think the twists in part 1, involving Dr. Maniac specifically, are so out there, I kind of enjoy it. And it adds to the funness of the book. You have no idea what's coming, and it's very out there. And moving on, I think that the major twist at the end of story 1 is kind of fun, and it kind of recontextualizes the entire story. And I mean entirely, like it never happened. I mean, okay, basically, we're in spoiler review, why not just fucking get into it? After the reveal of Dr. Maniac is actually his, I think, sister and brother or something, his siblings, this is actually just a story and a story and a story. You'll get what I mean when we get into one of my downsides. Dr. Maniac, the whole story, is just a story. Like, the kid at the final chapter, he was reading it to his mom, I believe. Which is just like, it's like blah blah everyone, sort of. Which is really cool. I like those types of endings, and it kind of works here because it is a fun book. It's just bonkers. And that's its main point. It is a very weird read. It has the weird Dr. Maniac, it has the weird Purple Rage, it has weird twists and turns. It has a weird plot. There's something involving an ice rink, which I found very cool and kind of dark. Yeah, Dr. Maniac really does it for me with its twists and it being just a very wild read. And its Horrorland segment is really good. It actually brings back a certain Slappy, so that's also really cool to see here. He's just kind of thrown in there, but it's still kind of cool just to see him kind of cameo. And also we get Molly Malloy and the main character Brittany Crosby from Revenge of the Living Dummy. I'll review that eventually. I need to reread it. Yeah, great book, but it has issues. Whilst I love this book, I have to be fair, and I will say it definitely has one glaring issue, and this does bug me. It's that this is a story and a story and a story. Really? It pulls the same twist at the very end, halfway through it. And I'm talking about the main story. Basically, the first 30 pages of this book, which is like a camping story, really weird. You could I guess if you really wanted to, you could like make that its own camp Goosebumps story. Definitely bottom tier, but I thought that was okay. It could be a lot better. The main thing that pisses me off about it is the fact that it is a story being told within this story. It's like, all right, what do you think of it? Robby's telling his sibling or something at page 30, like, what'd you think of the story? And it turned out those first 30 pages were completely pointless to the story, which is kind of its own downside, is the pointlessness of this first 30 pages, as well as the shitty fucking reveal that it was fake. Just a pointless story in a story type deal in a story. There's free because this is a story and a story, and at the end of the story, that wasn't a story. It's a story. I don't fucking know. It's very complicated, shitty twist, and it wasn't that great of a first 30 pages to begin with. Definitely picks up a lot after, and that's why it's kind of my guilty pleasure because of how bonkers it is. But that first major twist, where it's revealed to be first 30 pages, it was a whole fucking story, and it has nothing to do with the book, pisses me off a decent amount. Decent enough to remove, well, a whole fucking point. So yeah, let's move on to my rating. And if you can't do math, a whole point minus the 10 out of 10 this could have been, maybe, is a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10, Dr. Maniac. Why the hell is it so hated? Well, probably the first 30 pages, and people don't like Dr. Maniac, even though they like Purple Rage. Really? And, yeah, I really like Dr. Maniac. The character and the book, the first book, and pretty much all the books. Reviews coming for them eventually. Yeah, highly underrated in my opinion. Whilst I can get the hate, I think there's some people who might enjoy this, and I see some people saying, this is a great book. And I'm glad I'm not alone on this being a guilty pleasure of mine. Also, if you're wondering why I have a stain, I actually just took a shower. So, I didn't realize I was still kind of wet there. Moving on, hope you guys enjoyed this review for Dr. Maniac vs. Robby Schwartz. What do you think of this book? Tell me down below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? I would not be surprised either way. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.